After 4 episodes of teasing, Pennywise finally made his return last week in Andy Machete's Welcome to Derry, 29 Nabald Street. Now, there will certainly be a terrifying rush to the finish as our new group of losers battles the killer alien clown. They might not be alone, though, because as episode 5 came to an end, the focus stayed on Dick Hallorann and his now-opened box of fears. What lies in store for one of Stephen King's most beloved characters in episode 6, A Welcome to Derry, in the Name of the Father?
Charlotte hides Hank at the Black Spot in Welcome to Derry, episode 6. The episode starts in black and white, going back to Juniper Hill in 1935, with a young girl patient named Mabel being woken up by a nurse in the middle of the night. She takes the scared kid down into the basement boiler room because this is where she said the clown told her to meet him. They notice a red balloon floating past an open doorway, and as a frightened Mabel cowers, Pennywise appears. Back in 1962, Will is being yelled at by his father Leroy about what happened in the sewers. Charlotte tries to intervene, but Leroy is angry. From now on, his son can't leave his room without permission. Will tells his dad he has friends who need him, and he would never let his friends die like he did. Leroy uncharacteristically slaps him across the face, and Will, crying, "He's got you too," runs out the door and gets on his bike, pedaling fast out of the base. Downtown, wanted posters of Hank Grogan are going up, and armed lynch mobs are forming. In the standpipe, his daughter, Ronnie, is looking at one as Lilly shows off the dagger that saved her. She wants to go back down into the sewer and kill it with this new weapon, but an angry Ronnie isn't interested. She even goes so far as to call Lilly crazy and blame her for everything. After screaming horrible things at each other, Ronnie storms out, and Lilly leaves in tears. Will follows the girl he likes. A dazed Dick Hallorann shows up at the new spot for black soldiers, desperate for alcohol. But when he says he's going to take a nap, the others tell him there's something they need to talk about. They're hiding Hank in their storage room. Dick's scared about what this could lead to, but Hank begs, promising not to leave the room. It's then that Ronnie, brought by Charlotte, comes in and runs to her father, but Hallorann wants no part of it.
Rich and Marge are falling in love in Welcome to Derry, episode 6.
It's night at the standpipe, where Marge is attempting to change the bandage on her eye when Rich comes in and helps her. Rather than being grossed out about her wound, he thinks it's cool. They stare at each other a little too long before talking about how the dagger might be the only way to stop the clown and that they have to do it together. He then helps Marge put a new dressing on her eye. Young love is blooming in Derry. In his darkened quarters, Hallorann is lost in the bottle when Leroy comes in to check on him. He's got new orders from General Shaw, who is still on the hunt for the pillars despite the dead soldiers. Dick sees one of them in the room, and at Leroy's prodding, he tells his new friend about how he can see dead things and his grandmother's idea to keep them in a box in his head. The box had been shut since he was 9 until that thing opened it and laughed. He tells Leroy they're here now, but the dead leave him alone if he ignores them. They know things we aren't meant to know, like how to find what they're looking for. Leroy, having already lost his best friend, wants Hallorann to use his powers to get this over with, but Hallorann is worried he won't be able to close the box. Back at home, Charlotte confronts Leroy over what happened with Will. He's sorry, saying that his head was messed up because of Polly dying in the sewer. Husband and wife hug, but she doesn't want to hear anything about protecting the country. "You put us in a cage with a goddamn monster!" She confesses that Hank is hiding at the Black Spot. Charlotte's going to get him out tomorrow, and then she and Will are going back to Shreveport. Lily's lost in memories of Pennywise at school as she grips her dagger. When she opens her desk, there's her mangled dad, who mocks her as she screams. Not even her teacher can make her stay after seeing that. It's only Rich and Marge together at lunch, talking about how they heard voices in the pipes last night. Rich gives Marge an old Cuban eye patch that belonged to his grandmother. She loves it and makes a joke about going on a date. But their awkwardness is interrupted by the popular girls, who want Marge to eat with them. When one of them calls Rich a freak, she finally stands up for herself, calling herself a freak too, before scaring them with her scabbed eye. Rich looks at her completely in awe.
Ingrid wants to draw Pennywise out in Welcome to Derry, episode 6.
Rich, Marge, and Will ride their bikes to the black spot to convince Ronnie to help them. Lilly, however, is at Ingrid Kersh's house. When no one answers, she lets herself inside and ends up in the attic, where she starts flipping through an album of family photos. One of the pictures, from 1908, features a bald man with a face resembling a certain clown, standing with a little girl. Ingrid appears, seemingly okay that Lilly is there. The girl, in tears, tells her about the tunnels before running into Ingrid's arms. As they hug, Lilly sees an old photo of Pennywise. She backs away, terrified, and a shocked Ingrid asks if she saw him, happy that Lilly found the clown. "You brought him back." There's a wig in the room, too. It was Ingrid, dressed as a clown whom they took a photo of in the cemetery and whom Will saw through his telescope. Her father was a carnival clown who called himself Pennywise. When he was taken from her, Ingrid stayed in Derry. We flash back again to 1908 and learn that she was the one with Mabel. When she overhears her talking to a doctor about a clown, Ingrid takes it upon herself to make it appear. She doesn't back away when Pennywise shows up in the boiler room. Instead, she stands her ground as the clown gives Mabel a balloon. Pennywise looks at Ingrid and laughs before chasing them through the basement. The housekeeper escapes, but Mabel is left behind and killed. From behind a window, her dad calls out, telling Ingrid that he misses her and asks her to open the door and let him in. In 1962, a smiling Ingrid tells Lilly it was her dad, different and changed from wherever he'd been. She had to find a way to free him, so she did what she had to do to see him again. Did she take innocent kids to Pennywise? Ingrid thought that if her father could see her as his daughter again, that he could break free. Wouldn't Lilly do anything to bring her father back to Derry, where nothing really dies? Lilly slashes the housekeeper with a knife and runs screaming into the daylight. At the black spot, Ronnie refuses to leave her father's side and go back into the sewers. Will won't give up and tries to convince her otherwise. And as impressed as Hank is that Will cares for his daughter, he won't let her go. The lynch mob is at the local bar, talking about where Hank might be, when a fired Chief Bowers walks in. He has a tip about where Grogan might be. So it's back to the black spot, where the episode ends. Dick is there, still in a fog. Marge is lost too, in love with Rich when she sees him play the drums with the band. Everyone's dancing and having fun, but good times are about to end. In the last scene, the all-white mob arrives, masks on their faces and weapons in their hands.